Today, I officially released the second of 12 feature-length films I'm making this year. It's called Anyone Else But Me, and it's out now on my main channel. And I'm super proud of it. It's a big, ambitious movie. I did a silly thing. I made a super ambitious movie in the shortest month of the year. Started shooting February 1st and hit export yesterday, February 29th. Was very grateful for the leap year. That extra day helped a lot. But yeah, it's out now and I'm just so happy with it. Me and all my friends I've made in LA came together and made something really special. The impetus for this movie was actually my friend Blake, who plays the main character. He's such a talented performer. I always wanted him to be the lead in a movie. And, you know, it's hard to get it cast as the lead in a movie, so I'm like, might as well make it ourselves. And I wanted to give him that opportunity to really explore a character, and he just did such a great job, and the movie sort of built organically off of that idea. And another core idea of this movie is I wanted to be behind the camera. I have been on camera for almost all my work for the last like 3-4 years. And I finally wanted to go back to being behind the camera because that's how I started. My first movie, We Are Sasquatch, I'm not in it at all, and this feels like a sort of return to that. It's a big ensemble piece where I'm really focusing on the directing and cinematography and letting my friends be the talent and actors that you see on the screen. So I loved returning to that. It let me be a little more particular with the shots and the editing, a little more fine-tuned, a little more handheld. I like really shaky handheld. It gets really shaky sometimes, but sometimes that's just inevitable. You know, you got a close enough lens. It's like windy outside, you're cold, you're shivering, you're inevitably gonna be a little shaky. And that's another thing I want to talk about. It's not a perfect movie, and nor is it trying to be, regardless of it being made in a month. I just love movies with imperfections. My favorite movie of all time, Love Streams, has a shot where you could see the camera guy's shadow for like 10 seconds clear as day. But they kept it in because it was like the essential to the story and you needed that shot. So I respect stuff like that, and I didn't want to shy away from it here. And regardless of that, I think the movie still looks great. It doesn't look perfect, but it's not trying to, and I think it sounds great. You know, it's not, I think my sound design is, I usually just do the bare minimum. I'm trying to create a soundscape, make sure all the dialogue is well leveled, not too loud, not too quiet, but I'm not doing anything too fancy. I'm not going into EQ. It could clearly be more fine-tuned, but I'm not somebody who wants to put in that super extra push of work for a very little outcome. Most people will watch this and be like, oh, that sounded good because I got it to a good enough state. And I feel like sometimes as filmmakers, we go for perfect when inevitably our things aren't going to be perfect. So settling for like a good point is usually good because then at least you get the project out there. And a huge thing I want to emphasize with this project is that there was no crew whatsoever. I think it's a pretty artistically presented, well shot movie for a movie that had no one but me behind the camera. There was no sound guy, there was no lighting, it was all shot with available natural light. You know, I love lighting a scene with like car headlights or lighting a scene with just a lamp or just closing the blinds to make it look a little more dramatic or something simple like that. And I'm not that particular with stuff like that. But yeah, I was the only crew member. There was no extraneous crew. And I think the main thing why I want to emphasize that is I think a lot of filmmakers get discouraged because they're told sets have to look like this. They need all these different people and components. But if you just hone your craft, like I have for years and years, if you get good at shooting with the camera you get good at color grading that footage, you could pretty well make anything look intentional. You know, there's a lot of shots in this movie that are like shot completely in shadow or, you know, backlit. And as long as you color grade it to a decent point, it'll look good and it'll look intentional. It won't look like you messed up. And I just have no interest in dragging a bunch of lights onto a film set and setting them all up for every shot and doing the 3-point lighting. I just like how things look organically. You know, I like embracing organic lighting and a very realistic lighting approach. But I'm very proud of that fact, and I think it can encourage a lot of people. I think if you do hone your skills, you could be a one-man army. Have your friends and yourself on camera and be the sole guy behind the camera. And I had some friends help with music. My friend Kevin Sloan did an original score once again, and his music is amazing. He has a new album coming out I'm super excited for. And, excuse me. And my friends Christopher Rutledge and Tom Goulet did a brief special effects shot in the movie that I won't spoil, but it turned out so good. It's obscene. But this was really a labor of love by myself and everyone involved. I've found this giant group of friends out here in LA that are so damn creative and talented. And I feel like a lot of us are so stuck making the content that we need to survive that we don't get a chance to be truly dramatic or do something a little more left of center that is gonna kind of shock people who give it a chance. Because we're mostly comedians, my whole friend group, we're always doing sketch comedy, we're doing stuff like this, and I love being funny, I love making funny stuff. This movie is largely a comedy, but despite that, I'm like, these people have such good acting chops that those sketches and stuff don't really let shine, and they don't get a chance to explore characters. So it's so fun to step back and let like Sven and Chad and Atalia and all these people create three-dimensional characters that actually exist beyond a 5-minute sketch or a 1-minute short or something. And I hope you enjoy it if you check it out. I think it's totally different, like I said. The first month was this very raw camcorder style movie, and this one's a much more cinematically presented movie. And, last thing, 4:3. I shot it in 4:3, which I'm sure we'll get some questions. And there's two answers to why I shot it in 4:3. One is the technical answer, and that's that I love how 4:3 tells a human story. It harkens back to like how TV used to be shot. Like growing up, a lot of TV was not full like widescreen. It was like the 4:3 aspect ratio. And there's something about it that feels so much more homey and grounded. And I love how it frames faces. Roger Eggers, is that his name, who did The Lighthouse? He had a great quote where somebody asked him why he shot in his more square aspect ratio, and he said, like, I have the two most expressive faces in the world. Why would I want all this blank room on the close-ups on the side of them? Now, I kind of agree with that. I love how 4:3 frames a close-up. It lets you just sit with the character. There's no extraneous empty space. And then the second answer to why I shot in 4:3 is I just like composing in 4:3. It's not more complicated than that. I love to look at the camera and see a composition in 4:3. 16:9, I like that it's like the default and it communicates like something very real in that sense. It feels very like normal. But 4:3 just gives it this look that I feel like I'm composing a bit more of a painting than just like setting up a camera. I just really like that feeling. And I haven't done anything in a long time in anything wider than that, like a CinemaScope, what is it, 239-1 or whatever. I maybe I will this year, never say never, but I don't like it that much. It's like, it feels like it should be reserved for blockbusters. It's like they could have the super wide, crazy wide thing. I don't know why. Something like Master of None was shot in that, and I was like, why is this so cinematic? Like, I don't know if it calls for this, but to each their own. The Curse was just shot in that aspect ratio, and it kind of worked. I was also like, this probably would work fine in 16:9, but I didn't hate it either. But yeah, I hope you enjoy the movie. I've been rambling every which direction. I didn't want to give any spoilers in this director's statement video. I wanted you to still be able to go in blind and enjoy it, and I hope you do. Next video I'm going to do is a budget breakdown. This one I spent more money than the previous one, but still much less than something you'd see in a theater, so I'm excited to talk about that. But I love you guys. I love movies. I hope you're having a nice day. Bye-bye.